Hello, I'm back. Okay, so today I'm going to talk about my audition at Central Drama School. I'm going to say straight off that I am going to make loads of comparisons to last year. It's not on purpose, it's just I can't help it. As you know, or may not know, I auditioned for Central Drama School last year, and they were completely different experiences. The first thing which I found was very different was the talk. So last year I felt like they gave this quite long, I wouldn't say flamboyant, but very sort of spiritual talk about how we're all in this together and how the people around you aren't competitors, they're your fellow blah blah blah. And I felt like last year, by giving this huge talk with all these people which are all in the same boat and they are trying to get into these courses which don't have many spaces, I just felt like by giving this huge talk last year, I think they inadvertently, in my opinion, made it more competitive. This year, the introductory talk at Central was much calmer and chillaxed, and I think the fact that there were a lot less people in this audition last year, that they, anybody that's been to a Central audition knows that they take you into this huge room where you all sit down and then they give a little talk to. Last year, that room was packed differently, let me tell you that now. And this year, I felt like it was probably half full. So I don't know why, but instantly, the fact that there weren't as many people auditioning, well, on that specific day, I should say, it did relax me. I don't know why. After the talk, they split us into the groups, which then they lead you on to, like, you either do the workshop first or you go straight into the auditions. We did the workshop first. Well, I should say my group did the workshop first. Last year, I remember they asked us to sing our song in the workshop. This year, the workshop was taken over, or should I say, led by the CDT acting pathway directors, head important people. The workshop had a completely different feel to it. Last year, the workshop was led by the voice, vocal cords coach or whatever you want to call it. I felt much more relaxed and happy in this workshop because the CDT course leaders, that's the word, the way they operated the workshop, I just felt was much more, I'm not going to use the word fulfilling, but it really did warm me up for the audition. During the workshop, we did loads of improvisations, and it was just a really nice workshop, and it really did put me at ease. And one thing they did ask us to do was to perform one of our classical monologues. As you know, Central have a set speech list which they ask you to pick 2 classical monologues from. I chose Cressida's speech from Troilus and Cressida, and the other monologue I chose was Paulina's speech from A Winter's Tale. The one that I decided to do first was Cressida's speech. Performing it in that workshop, once again, it just really relaxed me. That's the only thing I could think to say. It really, really, really relaxed me. Rewind. Instantly, when we started doing the improvisations, I noticed that one of the girls was crazy talented. You could tell she was just on point. She had that spark in her, which obviously you hope all directors and casting directors and whatnot see in you. So when we started doing our classical pieces, obviously, as I said, I performed mine. I really did like the way I performed it. I was happy with how it all played out. But then when it came to her, performance, I was paying close attention. And something happened that I never thought would happen in any audition, specifically at Central. So she goes up to do it and she asks them, "Oh, do you mind if I do another classical speech that's not on the speech list?" And obviously I'm like, no, just no. I don't know, why did you even ask that question? So obviously the course leaders said, no, that's not possible. Do you have one from the set speech list? And she was like, yes, of course. She runs off like the centre stage and comes back on and starts to do her monologue, classical monologue. She gets like a couple of sentences into this and she gets confused or nervous, or I'm not sure what the word is. And she asks, can she start again? See, I'm always really like 50-50 about the whole start again thing, because do course leaders slash directors slash casting agents, would they prefer us to say, can we start again and do hopefully a better performance, or just keep it going? Because I keep thinking in live performances, if you screw something up, you can't go, hold on, let me do this again. Because if you did that on stage in front of an audience, obviously it's live, you're going to get, you're going to get told about yourself. She runs off the centre stage and she does the speech again. She fumbles on her lines, and then I'm looking at her like, do you not know your monologues? Like, oh, and then I'm thinking, hold on, Winnie, your Guildhall monologue, you had a mental breakdown. Like, literally, you completely forgot a monologue that you had rehearsed for months. Maybe she's just going through the same thing. Wait and see. So my girl performs the monologue again and messes it up. And finally the course leaders go, do you know the monologue? She goes, no, not really. So they say, okay, can you do the second monologue that you've chosen from the speech list? The girl says she doesn't know a second one. What? What you talking about, Willis? They basically asked to see the next person. So can I just remind you, this is the workshop, okay? This is the workshop. So we get into the actual audition, and obviously, tense atmosphere anyway, because we're all waiting. And can I just say, before we went into the actual audition room, which was in a separate room from the workshop room, there was quite a long wait. It was like 10 minutes, and no joke, my heart was beating out of my chest. I was a hot mess. We go into the audition room, we all do our pieces. I do my piece. As I said before, I chose to do Cressida's speech from Troilus and Cressida. My piece. Okay, I'll just be honest, I had no idea how I did. It was one of those things where I sat down and I did go, oh, I wish I'd done it this way. Oh, I wish I'd done it that way. You can always say that you are your own harshest critic. I felt like I wish I'd brought a little bit more movement to it, not just physically, but maybe also vocally in my voice. The girl who in the workshop didn't know any classical speeches, she obviously went up and the same thing happened. She admits after doing it like 2-3 times, I'm sorry, I don't know any of the speeches on the speech list. And you could tell she was about to cry, and she was like, please, can I do another classical? And they were like, no, sorry, we cannot hear anything that's not on the speech list. So she sits down, and I remember I remember I moved one seat up to her I'm not sure whether I put my arm around her, but I think I did whisper, are you okay? And she just looked devastated. Anyway, so everybody performed. We all went out. I noticed that the girl that didn't learn any of the speeches on the classical speech list, she stayed behind to speak to them. And I heard her say, I'm really sorry. And then I heard the course leaders, or should I say the people on the audition panel, say, can you close the door? We want to speak to you. They were speaking for quite a while. Then she came out and the course leaders asked to speak to like the head of acting or someone as important as that. So everybody was like, oh my gosh, why are they calling the head of acting? I knew, and I feel like everybody did know deep down why they called her. Those course leaders asked to see the head of acting because they wanted to basically see if they could put this girl through just on her modern monologue. And okay, fair enough, I'm never going to know why they really called the head of acting. But at that point, I thought if they are asking the head of acting if they could put this girl through just on her modern monologue, that's not fair. You have thousands of applicants that learn 2 speeches from the classical set speech list. They spend months preparing it, and to accept somebody that didn't do what was required, I think is just plain, not just disrespectful on the other people that did learn it, but cruel and mean. We put blood and tears "Oh, are you Winnie? Do you do YouTube videos?" She said that she found my videos very helpful and basically thanks. And I was very, very happy and appreciative of her coming up to me. And I was like, I only ever wanted my videos to be helpful and, you know, shed a little bit of insight maybe into what the audition process is like. Obviously everybody's audition process is different, but I just enjoy talking about my audition processes. So yeah, when she approached me about, you know, my vlogs, I was happy to talk to her about them, and it was really nice. Her name's Anna. Hello Anna. We actually are friends now, and we are keeping in touch, which is lovely. Rewind. So she told me that she came from South Africa to London to audition for drama schools. You know how I went to New York to audition for Juilliard, and I thought that London to New York was long. Africa to London for auditions, well done, like no joke. That is true dedication. Overall, the audition process for Central was really, really nice. A lot more different, I felt, than last year. Last year I felt was very tense and competitive, and this year it was very relaxed. And I think that just shows how obviously every audition process is different. And not only that, every year, and also within every year and every audition, workshop and actual audition, the directors and course leaders and people that take the auditions can change it up whenever they feel like it. The outline of the audition process is still the same. Like, you have to know 2 audition speeches from Central Speech List. To the girl, once again, that didn't learn any speeches from the speech list, boy, what were you thinking? I'm not gonna lie, I don't think I would turn up to Central if I didn't know any of the speeches. I remember last year this guy saying he only knew 1 speech from the speech list, and I was thinking, damn, you're really cutting it fine and playing with fire. But to not know any, I'm confused. Like, look at the creases on my forehead. I'm confused. Side note, I'm going to be honest here. I think the fact that I knew at this point that I got into Rose Bruford made me definitely relax in my audition. And I wish that I had that feeling in future auditions, because that feeling of being relaxed and calm and like really focused but not over analysing too much is so nice. You find out on the day if you've got a second audition. They say, oh, the second audition doesn't mean that you haven't gone into the second round. It may just mean that they want to see more of you, or they've seen enough of you or whatever. If you don't get into the second round that day, it's very, very, very unlikely that you've got a place. That's just the truth. Well, what I personally think. That day, I found out that they didn't want to see me for the second round of auditions. I was really upset, but at the same time I felt like Rose Bruford is what's right for me at this moment in time. So, you know, what's done is done, and what's meant to be is meant to be, you know. Thank you very much for watching. That is the end of my vlog about my audition at Central Drama School. Bye.